during testing, Williams' rating from us is likewise 3 stars out of 5. 6 years since their last Grand Prix win, this year it'll be tough once again. The star reaching for the stars, Mercedes GP is already being hailed as Germany's national motor racing team. The drivers, Nico Rosberg and Formula One luminary Michael Schumacher. Now 41, the 7 times world champion is as hungry as ever for success. With the combination of Mercedes, Ross Brown and my experience, I think we can actually only have one aim. That's to win the World Championship. That's what I'm planning to do. And indeed, we've also undertaken to achieve that at some point during the next 3 years. The return of the most successful racing driver of all time caused one of the biggest media frenzies in Formula One history. Never before was a test run hotter news for him and his team. 4 out of 5 stars. In Italy, they're aiming to get back on track to victory. For the Reds, 2009 was a black year. They hope the new F10 will bring a return to their former success, with Felipe Massa and Fernando Alonso under pressure to achieve it.
Being a Ferrari driver, you know that the expectations are very high, and people will expect from you a winning performance, and I think we are ready for that challenge.
The initial tests were successful, with the new F10 running like a Swiss watch and yet also being extremely fast. The complete Ferrari package, power and drivers, looks good. The Scuderia can hope again. We give Italy 4 stars. There's only one aim: to finish 1 place better than last year. Sebastian Vettel, keen to attack as ever. There's some catching up to do in the new RB6, the power pack in Formula One. The test weeks didn't go as hoped. Bad weather and not many laps. Nevertheless, Vettel and Webber means ambition and experience. For the drivers and the bulls with the shark fin, 5 stars out of 5. On to the team of champions, McLaren Mercedes, with reigning world champion Jenson Button and 2008 winner Lewis Hamilton. 2 letters, 3 numbers, the MP425. So aerodynamically extreme that the shark fin projects all the way to the rear wing, and yet it's no guarantee for overall victory.
It could be one of 7 people. You know, you never know. I do know that the teams I've just mentioned will be very competitive, and every driver in them will be competitive. I think it'd be interesting to watch how Michael gets on at the first race compared to Nico, and likewise with Fernando and Felipe. So there's a lot of exciting battles that are going to be going on this year.
McLaren Mercedes, 2 world champions hunting down wins, plus the lap record during testing in Jerez looks pretty promising. A full point score, 5 stars. Test results, predictions and betting odds. By the weekend at the latest, fans, teams and drivers will know what they're really up against. And now, right at the start of the season, a retrospective. They were the thunderous, resonating hammer blows of last year. Overnight, 2 manufacturers quit the Formula One arena. Number 1, Toyota. The Japanese team has a long motorsport history, the driving force behind it initially being Ove Anderson. The early roots were in rallying. Driver Bjorn Valdegard and co-driver Arne Hertz were the men of the hour in Ove Anderson's team. At the start with the lightweight small Corolla, following the Toyota team was not easy, nor was it meant to be. Dashing drifts in Toyota's original rally car, the Celica ST. The sports coupe mutated into a true power pack, surging through everywhere. In the early 80s, they chased through the African continent, a major test for man and machine. Towards the end of the 90s, Toyota began racing in the newly created Le Mans prototype class. Achieving up to 380 kilometers per hour, they dominated the field, gathering know-how for the planned entry into Formula One in 2002.
Toyota has taken the most difficult way to go into Formula One, to start with building facilities, getting the team together, and then start to design their own chassis and their own engine.
But by 2009, it was all over. Trulli now drives for Lotus, and Glock has joined Virgin Racing. After 139 Formula One races without a win, Toyota pulled out of the expensive F1 business. New Formula One legend number 2, BMW. Last July, at a hastily arranged press conference, the Bavarian carmaker announced their exit. The Formula One world was shocked. Nobody had seen this coming. I'm naturally disappointed by the decision on a personal level, but that doesn't alter the fact that these 10 years in Formula One have been a fantastic time. That makes it sound as though it was only 10 years, but BMW's big moment came way back in 1982 when they entered Formula One with Brabham. Based on a 1.5-litre production engine, Chief Engineer Roche developed a turbo-powered motor that in the final stage of evolution mobilized 1,400 horsepower. You heard it right, 1,400 horsepower. Nelson Piquet won the Canadian Grand Prix in the first year, and 1 year later brought Brabham the Drivers' Championship. The first for a turbocharged engine in F1, and another name forged into the annals of motorsport history. From '87, they then took a break, starting again in 2000. The team was now called Williams F1. While Ralf Schumacher and Juan Pablo Montoya gave it a good go, they were unable to win a world championship before the partnership ended. Formed in 2005 with Peter Sauber, BMW then had their own team, which existed until 2009. The hoped-for success at both Toyota and BMW failed to materialize. Nevertheless, our Inside Grand Prix team says thank you for your work with us and goodbye. Brisk and brief, here's the news. After 16 years, Max Mosley is no longer FIA boss. News for 2010 that we didn't want you to miss. His successor, John Todd. In the election for FIA president, the former Ferrari boss beat off rallying legend Ari Vatanen from Finland. And now another special aspect of F1 that we've naturally not missed going into the first race of the season. All of the teams work a lot with simulation and then regularly use this data in their wind tunnels. Virgin Racing, however, is backing a different approach, working 100% with simulation, meaning the only airstreams here are on the computer. That's down to technical director Nick Worth, having used this method successfully over recent years in the ALMS series. A brave move to do things differently to everyone else. And so to a special breaking point on the Bahrain Sakhir circuit. The Brembo engineers know well that it's going into turn 1 where the drivers brake hardest, slowing down by 241 kilometers an hour. 1,933 kilowatts of energy are released in the process. Up to 4.6 G pull at the driver, who has to push down with 132 kilograms onto the brake. That was Inside Grand Prix. We'll be back for the next race in Melbourne.